everyone, and welcome to Schrodinger's Bathtub. With me, as always, my wonderful co-host, Matt, the almost a doctor.
Yes.
How are you, Matt?
I'm always happy to be here.
Always happy to have you.
Yes. Now, I do have my questions ready. We have our 50 trivia questions, but
Excellent.
I think we should probably wait a little bit for everybody
We'll wait a
to
little
join
bit and get people in here. To start off with, hi everybody into the chat. Hi Dave, hi Gary, hi SR, hi Sandy, hi Robert. They're the ones who are actually sitting in chat and have said things. I know there's probably a couple of people lurking, but it's fine. Hi to you all. Welcome. I know we'll have stragglers who'll show up a bit later. It is stupid o'clock in the morning for people in the US, but we could make it worse if we wanted to.
Yes.
But Matt's going to explain how this works because I'm playing along with you guys, so we'll see how we go.
Yes. So I've put together 50 questions and I've done it on Kahoot. So if you've ever used that before, you'll know exactly how this is going to go. Hopefully they're good questions, but what will happen is once we've given everyone a chance to arrive, and we'll probably just chat for a little bit first, we'll share up my screen, which has a game pin. All you need to do is go to Kahoot. You don't need an account or anything like that, and you just enter the pin in. I think if you type Kahoot, and the spelling will be on the screen as well. I'll pop it in the chat too. All you need to do, add that game pin in, and you'll end up joining. You can pick whatever nickname or whatever name you want for your trivia individual this time, because I can't really do it as teams. It's a bit hard online, but that's about it. And then the rest will, fairly self-explanatory. And I have also set it so that the questions will come up not only on our screen, but on hopefully whatever device you're looking at the trivia from. So should make things easy. Yeah. And I'm happy to go through that again for any stragglers.
When the stragglers get here. When the stragglers eventually get here.
I don't.
And thank you, Robert X, for
tweeting
that out.
15 p.m.
Yeah, I don't think you need the PM. But that's okay, Robert. We know what you mean.
Yes.
Hey, Junk Sharp, how you doing?
A few of you guys were with us last night too, over on Hereticals.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun last night. We had a lot of fun.
Yes.
Oh, as always.
I got my computer telling me it wants to do auto updates.
Right in the middle of the stream.
That won't be a problem.
Yeah, you can always delay them.
So hopefully nothing shuts down. But yeah,
so, it'd be worse if mine did.
Yes. At least we'd keep chatting in that case, or you could keep chatting.
I can keep chatting.
As soon as my computer stops dying.
Now, during Hereticals last night, I was going to bring up a new solar system. That's the one from 26 light years away, where they found a multitude of planets, which are very similar. I can't remember the name of the solar system.
Was that the red dwarf one?
Yes, it's a red dwarf. But what we have there is we've got a really close-in, smaller, rocky planet, similar to Mercury. Then they've got a mini Venus, because it's in the right zone to be just a hot as hell planet like Venus, and it possibly has an atmosphere because of the mass that they're getting from it. So it possibly has an atmosphere, so it will be a hellish place like Venus. Then there is a planet that they suspect is a water world because of the mass of it and where it is. It's in the zone where it should be able to have liquid water on the surface, but its mass is quite low, but its diameter is quite large, so that they suspect it's a water world. It's either that or it's a rocky world with a very large but heavy atmosphere. And then slightly further out from there, still in what would be a Goldilocks zone, there's a planet very similar in the size to Earth, which they suspect has an atmosphere. Now, Of course,
Ooh.
you're still going to have issues at that because you're talking about a red dwarf, and most likely these planets are tidally locked. Which plus, red dwarfs are often flare stars, which is not good if you want life. But this whole system, then they also suspect there's more planets other than that. This whole system is kind of looking like an Earth analog, our solar system analog, except that the planet in the Earth position is a water world. Well, Earth is kind of a water world. And then you've got a larger Earth-sized planet that's further out that looks like it probably has an atmosphere. So,
but it didn't used to be. Earth didn't used to be kind of a water world. We actually got most of our current surface water from comets.
the late bombardment period.
Yeah, but they thought originally, early in Earth's history, that life couldn't have formed much before 3.5 billion years ago because it was too violent. There was too many of these impacts. The surface, the atmosphere was just too hostile. But we're finding that they keep finding some evidence that suggests maybe life started earlier in what was known as the Hadean period, because of course Hades, Hades and Hell,
Hell.
They wanted to name it after that. But I don't think Hades was meant to be hot, but it is not meant to be glamorous. So I guess they got somewhere with the name. But yeah, so it looks like life can survive in plenty of places, and water worlds, if you might actually be useful, even if you do have your flare-ups from the sun, the water would still help insulate you against some of the radiation.
But so what we're looking at in a system like this is if you've got a place with enough water, a large water world with enough water, even if it's tidally locked, because you're heating the water on one side of the planet, circulation of that water should still happen. You probably don't have a lot of... You'd have ice on the other side, but you probably don't have a huge amount of ice on it. And you're still going to have an under ice ocean, plus the ocean that's not covered in ice on the sun side. So you end up with a good potential of a water world like that. You could even have land life that's on top of the ice on the other side of a planet like that. Who knows? It's one of those things. Until we could actually get there and have a look, we really don't know. But it's good to see planets with these sort of potentials, and to see that sort of thing around red dwarfs, which is the most common star in the galaxy, well, in the universe, is awesome. I mean, we're finding more planets around red dwarfs than anywhere else, really.
Yeah, and the more we look, the more we find possible locations for life, let alone just finding more exoplanets or more systems. Just the possible range of places where you can get that liquid water or a liquid medium that could house life.
I mean,
it's just
if you're going to go back to the Drake equation, you got to go say, how many stars are in the galaxy? Well, we've got a rough idea of that. How many of those have planets? Almost all of them. Seems to be the answer to that. Almost every planet has a planet. Every planet has a planet. Almost every star has a planet. Not all of them. There'll be some that do not, but the vast majority.
I think about half of stars are binary, aren't they? So there's two. You'll get.
But
two
binary
of the
stars
one.
can still have planets.
Yes.
So
because they still have a center of mass that the planets would orbit around.
And also, if one of the stars is is slightly larger than the other, you might still find that the second star just orbits that star, and then the planets will orbit the biggest star. And then you might have planets orbiting the smaller star as well, more like a Jupiter-type system. I mean, there's no reason this can't happen because we have analogs to it in our own solar system in the sense of Jupiter with the suns, And you get stars that have a lot bigger mass difference than there is between our sun and Jupiter. So it is quite conceivable.
And they start, eating each other. Because you get one of them... it tends to be so if they're not the same size, one of them I should say this first. Bigger stars burn faster, so they tend to have shorter lifespans. And stars towards the end of their life, or as they go through their life, get bigger. Particularly when they get towards the end, they just expand massively, and that will happen with our sun. It can happen before they go supernova, but what happens in a binary system is one of them gets so big that the outer parts of the sun pass over into the point where the gravitational pull of the other star just starts pulling the material off it.
Yeah.
So you end up with stars that have they look like different ages, but it's only because one star stole the material from the other one. It gets really weird, but it's fascinating.
But you also get very large stars that aren't stars at their end of their life, because you can have large blue stars, which are massive. The diameters aren't hugely bigger. As stars get more massive, they tend to keep. They get up to a certain point in their diameter, and then they actually increase mass, but they don't actually get bigger because the mass sort of balances with how much the star can actually physically force out. If you go beyond a certain limit, you'd end up with a black hole. So, because it's actually considered possible that there were black holes that formed during the Big Bang, because things just condensed straight down and became black holes. We also have evidence now for stars that don't go supernova. Large stars that don't actually go supernova.
Some of them fail.
They just fail and turn into black holes directly. The internal
they
pressure
actually
stops.
Picked that one up.
And they collapse.
Oh, sorry.
Go now.
Yeah, and the thing is, they picked that one up, interestingly, not because they saw it first, but because they had all these computer simulations where they're trying to model supernova, because that's one of our best ways to get an understanding, is we keep modeling until the models match with what we see, and that gives us some idea of what's going inside. And all of these simulations kept failing. They just ended up giving like nothing. Like the star would just collapse. You wouldn't get a supernova. And all the astronomers are like, what's wrong with our simulations? They kept trying to tweak it. And it didn't matter how good they got. Some of them just failed until somebody came along and was like, wait a minute. What if this is what happens? What if it just sometimes fails? And they're like, oh, okay. And then they used how many times the models failed to kind of guess how many stars and for how long they'd have to look at before they had enough of a sample to spot one of these failed supernova, and they did it. They just went looking around the sky,
had about
and
3 now.
All hundreds of
stars that just blink out of existence, and they're not blinking out of existence. That's pretty much the gravitational effects are still there, but the star has turned off, which means the only way for that to happen is a gravitational collapse into a black hole. Yeah, which means for some reason the nuclear fusion in the core of the star stopped long enough for the outward pressure of that nuclear fusion to not overcome gravity anymore. And gravity just took over at that point and goes, I got you.
Yeah, because with a supernova, what happens is the core of the star collapses and becomes basically a neutron star. So the actual atoms themselves break down and the electrons get pushed into the protons.
Yeah.
And that releases a lot of neutrinos. And even though they don't interact, and they interact with nothing, but there's just so many of them that they actually push the rest of the star out. But if the actual gravity just takes over before that can occur, then yes, as Jen was saying, it doesn't go anywhere. It collapses into nothing.
It just collapses.
And the thing is, they had a good idea of how... Yeah, and based on how many we've seen, Jen was saying we've seen 3 now, and originally when they went looking, they knew roughly how many they had to look at before they saw it. It matched our models of what was going on, which was telling us, hey, we actually got this one right based on the computer simulations.
Not the first one. The first one was found actually in Andromeda, because they actually noticed the star blink out, and they wondered if they couldn't find this star anymore, and they wondered if that was what had happened. So they went back and checked the records, and that was the first one. But they've actually found one in the LMC as well that's done the same thing. So I think it was the second one that they found. But like I said, they found 3. So there was one in the LMC as well. So, and that's really close to us in a galactic sense. So right next to,
but
so Robert X asked us a question, and we haven't answered it yet, but I did put it up.
Yes. Are there any moons around that planets, as far as we know, as then the moon pool would help circulation?
I think he means around. Do we know of any moons around exoplanets? I think is what he's asking.
I don't know if we've spotted any. You
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's real. We don't actually generally spot the planet. I mean, there have been a couple of times where we have been able to see planets when the stars have been big enough, and we've been able to. And so the planets have been far enough out that we've been able to block off the sunlight and actually see the larger planet in its. Or we've seen the trail that it makes in the dust cloud around a young star. But generally speaking, that compared to the sun, the star that the planet's going around, the planet is just way too dim. Our current telescopes can't do that. James Webb might be able to resolve some of the nearer ones, but we're looking at telescopes beyond that before we can really get a good sampling of some of the exoplanets that are out there. So the chances of us seeing a moon or even seeing the wobble of a planet that's orbiting a star so that we could tell if that that planet had a moon would be really hard. The best guess we'd have,
very difficult.
The best guess we'd probably have for that is if we see something that seems to have a very large diameter, because we can get a rough idea of diameters of something, or has a decent sized diameter but doesn't have enough mass for it, and we can't account for that in, say, it being a water world or something like that. That might be a sign that it's actually a binary planet, rather, or a planet with a fairly decently sized moon, and you might actually pick that up like that. But aside from that, we probably don't have any way at the moment that we could actually pick that up.
And I mean, of course, as time goes on, technology does get better, and there's a lot of people working in astronomy to try and build better telescopes so that we can see these things better. But I remember years ago, I heard it described that trying to spot these exoplanets alone is like trying to spot a firefly fly in front of a lighthouse when you're like 10 kilometers out to sea.
Yeah, like, it's amazing that we've ever actually done it. And I mean, you could say that, how do we know that we've done it? Because we have more than one way to detect these planets. So we have orbital wobble of the star. We have there's the when the planet passes in front of the star, and we can see the dip in brightness of the star. And there's also one that there's a change in the light frequency we get from the star because of the way that because of when it wobbles backwards and forwards from us, instead of when we see a planet from a star system from top on, where we'd see the wobble this way, we can see it this way because the slight changes in the Doppler effect of the light from the star. So there's a Doppler effect system, there's a transient system, and there's the radial velocity system. And there have been a couple of star systems where we've been able to use two of those techniques to detect exactly the same planets and get the same results. So when you've got two ways to confirm something and you get the same results, there's a good sign that you've done it. And there is one star system where we were able to actually see the star, see the planet, because of the disk that it had carved out in the passage it had carved out in the proto disk around the star itself, and we could detect the wobble as well. So we knew that the planet was there because we saw its path that it had carved, and we could see the wobble it made with the star. So we knew we knew our techniques were right because we were able to test them with other techniques, which is how science works.
Always. As I said, a lot of these, like, we have a lot of simulations for them as well, and not just, this is a guess, but as I said, like with the failed supernova, etc., or supernova, I think supernova A is a small one, but the failed supernova is a good example of that. And so we'll see how it goes. Also, I just want to add to anyone who has joined the chat, since we last spoke on it, we will start the trivia soon. It's going to be on Kahoot, so everybody can join in, and it will keep score for us. So feel free to see if you can take the title. Just wanted to point that out in case anyone was wondering when they got in there.
Well, we've got 15 people in the chat now. This might not be a bad time to get started.
Oh, yeah, because we can always give it a moment for people to join in too.
Should join in as
well.
So,
all right, well, look, what's on my screen is ready for people to start joining in. Let me just copy out the game pin.
I will put it up on the...
Yes. So for anyone who is in the chat, So for anyone who is in the chat, just so you know, just go to Kahoot on Google and click on the link, and it just asks you for the game pin. You just pop that in. You don't need an account, and you can pick it. I will find a link to Kahoot for you, the correct one too, just in case. But it should be the main. It's the first one that comes up on Google if you type in Kahoot, which is what's spelt on the screen here. But let me just pop it in the chat. There you go. Very simple. Oh, well, that's a great way to start. Let's start off with death. That will come up. So yeah, all you do, enter the pin that there's up there, which I will put back in the, which I'll pop in the chat as well, just in case anyone wants to copy. The questions should come up on the Kahoot as well as our screens. So if you can't see us, but you can hear us, that will work. Obviously, if you can see our lovely faces, that's the best. Well, Jen's lovely face. I don't know about mine.
I can see yours.
At least partially covered up. No. I keep getting told I need to trim my beard, but we're in lockdown. I don't need to trim it. Oh.
Whoa!
I got a couple of people there. Sammy's in. Death is in. I'm waiting for what Nerdy might want to pop as his avatar. Also, just keep in mind that you have to keep the Kahoot open. Because we got life and death. You have to keep the Kahoot open. If you close it, it will shut. Like if you minimize or something, I think it can close you out before the game starts. Just keep that in mind. But you can always rejoin. It doesn't have an issue with that. And I have done this with a few friends, but so we got 5 people so far. Morning, Granny. We got Jesus now. I think we already said hi to Nerdy.
Yeah.
And by the way, Nerdy, there is a question here on rats, so don't worry, I've got you covered. And there is one on lasers.
Yeah.
You'll just have
Jewish
to wait and
space
see what
laser
it is.
rats.
Oh, that's a conspiracy we should start.
Oh, that is.
You know but we should take it out of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You know how the Earth is just an experiment by mice to study humans. We should do it the other way around.
Nerdy should know if that's true.
Yeah, but it's the Illumin Moosey, so he probably can't tell us. One of my favorite takes on that is the Mitchell and Webb one, where they do the inebriati. Yeah. It's a secret organization that is dedicated to keeping people ever so slightly pissed, but not drunk. So yeah, if you get a chance, I think it is on YouTube if anyone types in inebriati. It's I think that's the most realistic of all of them.
And Claire's got the right answer here.
Yes. Nerdy, I think, beat Claire just.
Oh, Nerdy did, yep, 242. Well done.
Yes. Unfortunately, that is not the answer to any of the questions in here. It is a little different. Most of them are science, but not all of them, just to give everybody a bit of a chance. Although we seem to have about 16 watching. We got 9 likes, so, 10 now. I forgot to hit it myself. Yeah. Whoops. Yes.
11.
Do what Jen says. Don't be like me. Don't wait, half an hour to actually click that button. So make sure you do click it. And I'm just going to wait for a few more people to join in before we start, because once I start, I don't think it'll let people join. So yeah. Oh, okay. Just in case anyone...
can wait a few more minutes. So was there anything else that caught your? I mean, we've done the planet. So we've talked about we've talked about stars.
I do have a question
directly into black holes. So do you have anything that caught your eye this week, Matt?
Well, see, the only thing I've been looking at this week, apart from the equipment I was able to take home because we're in lockdown, I can't actually go to uni to do my work, has been about planets, because I've been researching for the video I'm trying to make. The script is pretty much finished.
Oh, you don't want to mention any of that because that spoils your video.
It does. I'll just say the script is 7,500 words long. It took me like 2 full weeks to do the research. This is the longest and biggest video on my planet. Oh, sorry.
On your planet?
Planets are in my head. Biggest video on my channel. Not planet. Well, it's not the biggest video on
your
this planet.
Your personal planet.
But little planet that is my own mind. Right. People say I'm off with the fairies. No, fairies don't exist. I'm off on some other planet. Probably one of the new exoplanets they found. Although talking about the water worlds, so we mentioned that some of them might be covered in ice. The Earth was once covered in ice.
Oh yeah,
completely
Snowball
covered.
Earth.
Yeah, Snowball Earth. So they had glaciers that they reckon reached as far as or just shy of the equator.
Yes.
And somehow life survived through it.
And we've had a near
Very
Snowball Earth as well. So we've had a almost full Snowball Earth and another one that was very close to it. So climate change does happen on Earth all the time. It's a rate of it that we managed to have it happen at that's unusual.
Yes. Yeah, if you look at the largest extinction event in Earth's history, it was the Permian-Triassic one. 96% of all sea life, or like all sea species in the ocean died out, and it was about 70-80% of all land species died out. Or was it genre? No, it was genre. So it was like the 2 levels up. Like, just disappeared because the planet just baked itself to a crisp. It was hotter than it is now. You also had the supercontinent of is it Pangaea or Gondwana? It was one of those, the earlier one.
3, haven't we? I think wasn't Gondwana the first?
No,
we had this discussion the other day.
It was a tiny little one. The first one was like the supercontinent of but it was smaller than Australia is because there was that little land mass back then. Because the rocks that make up land are generally lighter than the igneous rocks that you find under the ocean. So, like land-based crust tends to float. So land can slowly build up into an equilibrium, and it hadn't quite yet by there. And so there was that. But yeah, that one there, I think, still took a few million years. And the current rate of extinction that humans are causing is faster than that. The worst mass extinction event in the planet's history.
We are actually able to beat a fucking asteroid.
Yeah, so just noticed Donald's comment there. So Donald, good night. Also, welcome. I don't think I've said hi yet. So an ice age, all you need for an ice age is where the Earth has permanent ice somewhere on it. That's it. So currently we are technically in an ice age. What generally we refer to in those cold periods, say 10,000, oh no, it was a bit more than 10,000 years ago. And there was a mini ice age a few thousand years ago, I believe, as well. Yep. But when we normally refer to them, we're referring to glacial periods. So yeah, where they do get covered in glaciers, but not as much. So the glaciers, I think, during that extended about as far south as England, around that kind of latitude.
Yes.
I forget how far north they went from Antarctica, but they didn't get too far.
Yeah, because you had there was great glacial scarring that far down, like even in the English Channel, which was part of Doggerland originally. There's glacial scarring under the ocean, so it definitely had glaciers come down that far. So, but that's not all that far down, really, as opposed to...
No, but it was only a few degrees colder than now. It was only something like 3 or 4 degrees colder, and you had glaciers going that far. You don't need to mess with the climate that much to make a big difference.
No.
Also, I think when our polar caps first froze, in terms of like what gave us Antarctica and the Arctic, now, like the North Pole, I think killed off like 20 to 30% of all life on this planet as well. So yay.
You got to remember, if you go back to the last years of the dinosaurs, when Australia was connected to Antarctica at that time, and it was basically in the polar regions. Antarctica wasn't freezing over all year round. So that there actually wasn't snow on the continent or on Australia all year round, even though it was that.
No, Antarctica used to be green. I love that. It used to be. It's just so
even
weird,
where it is now, it used to be green. It was cold because of where it is, but it wasn't covered in ice and stuff. It was more like Canada.
Yes. Also, back during I think it was Cretaceous period. Canada and Alaska were further north than they are now. So they actually experienced slightly colder temperatures than they do, but they had about 4 months of darkness a year because it was further north. Yet we have dinosaurs that didn't leave. that somehow survived through like big hadrosaur herbivores, raptor-like dinosaurs that were like mini versions of T-Rex.
Well, raptors we can understand because we think most of the raptors were warm-blooded anyway. So as long as they had enough food to eat, they could regulate themselves anyway, especially if they were smaller. But hadrosaurs are more interesting because we don't think the hadrosaurs and the other large herbivorous dinosaurs were warm-blooded. So, but we don't know for sure.
They weren't Yeah, they're not fully warm-blooded. Most of the studies I've seen for it tend to indicate that they're a bit like some fish and sharks are, in that they can keep their body temperature a few degrees above ambient temperature, but they couldn't maintain like an actual proper body temperature like we can, like
so
mammals
that's what the
can.
hadrosaurs
So instead of saying, yeah, so where we can maintain about 36, 37, and if you go outside that range, you're not going to be feeling great, but between 36, 37 is normal for us. Monotremes are closer to 30 because they're older mammals and we've been slowly getting warmer because it means we're more active, which is good for most of the time except when you have a mass extinction event. So
Jesus is having way too much fun in the chat.
Yeah, he is. Also, for anyone who, I can see quite a few people have now joined. So yeah, hey, Godless Scummer as well. So anyone who didn't hear me earlier, for the few that have just dropped in, head on over to Kahoot. You just type it in. It's the first thing that comes in Google, or you can check the link that I've popped in there. And then you just put the game pin that I've highlighted on the screen up there in, which has also been put in the chat by me earlier and then later on by Robert. Thank you again, Robert. So all you do is you can pick whatever nickname you want to go by tonight. We'll get going soonish, but we're just letting a few stragglers stream in. Hopefully we can get as many people as possible, and then we will start. There will be questions. I've tried to keep it somewhat science focused, but not too it's not too detailed, and there's a few things from outside of science as well. I'm hoping it's amusing.
It should be good because I should embarrass myself.
We'll see. You'll definitely get one or two of the questions. I know you will. You'll know what you're looking at. And some of these questions I have tried to do will suit one or two people who are regulars on this channel. Or at least there'll be little throwouts to them anyway. And
there's a lot of little throwbacks that visit this channel.
Yes. So yeah, if you haven't already, feel free to come on over, and we will get going soon. I don't know, Jen, when you want to start, but
I'm happy to start whenever. How many have we got now, though?
It's 10 people there. We got 17 watching, so there's a few people who seem to be quite
but not everyone wants to play. So some people
that's fine. Yeah.
Some people love to watch.
Yes. Oh, what about Antarctica? Yeah, they need to find the fossil plants and animals that live there. Yeah. So one of the problems with finding fossils in Antarctica is you got to drill through several hundred.
Well, we might not have to do that soon.
Yes, if we keep going the way we are, we're going to have less and less of that to drill through. But if you wait until the video I'm trying to put out, I do, even though it is meant to be looking for alien life, we do visit Antarctica. I have to wait for the video to see what that actually is all about. But we do get to visit that and see some of the most interesting questions there. I can just do that now. Okay, Jen, the serious question now. If I have a triangle with sides of 1, and wait for it, 1, what are the internal angles?
African or
Those
European?
Those are the ones on the inside. Well, we lost someone.
Who did we lose?
Oh, no, I think they're back. So what happens, sometimes if it minimizes, it can drop people out. So that just can be a device thing. How about we give
or
like
European?
a definite...
No. I mean, of course, we're talking about an equilateral triangle there, and all the internal angles are 60 degrees. What
is your favorite color?
I don't know that.
Oh, I could... It was great. One of my mates had his, it was towards the end of last year, had his birthday, and this was in between when we're having any COVID waves, so we were able to organise something. His girlfriend managed to organise everything behind his back, booked out a small cinema for us, and we had a private screening of Holy Grail. And it was one of those cinemas where you could actually go and buy alcohol and bring it in. Like you could. So we had a few drinks watching Holy Grail. It was amazing. And there were a few scenes there where like half the audience was mouthing the entire scene.
Wow.
Particularly
the channel's now arguing
the
about
Knight.
what their favorite colors are.
Yes, for anyone who
She
didn't
said
get that is a
Fahrenheit.
Monty Python. How about, Jen, we say a particular like length of time, like in 2 or 3 minutes, just
Yeah,
so that way
we'll
if anyone
start
is
in a
watching
couple.
and joining.
Well, it's 9:38 now. Why don't we start at 9:40?
All right, 9:40. You guys have got 2 minutes if you're not already there to get over into that, so we can have a go. We got 10
Is
people,
Disney-
which is not a bad amount.
Okay, Granny's asked
but-
us a question. Is Disney canon?
I think she's saying it should be a question in there, but
Oh, should be a question. Okay.
Can I let the chat argue over that one, and I'll just stand back and watch the carnage? Godless Scummer. So I did actually ask that one in my debate with Numpty last Sunday.
Yeah, his
I
answer
did actually
was
ask him.
worse.
No, he was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, straight
So
up.
I guess
yeah,
that
straight up,
makes
I
him
don't know.
better than
What- yeah,
Sleeping Warrior in that he actually said, I don't know.
Whereas Sleeping
and
Warrior
didn't
wanted to find a triangle calculator.
See, that's why I can't directly watch Flat Earth videos. I've got to watch people debunking them or just taking the piss. I do like Sir Six channel for that because I can't get too much concentrated stupid, but it is funny to watch.
All right,
Because
Matt,
I don't
we're
watch
going to
it,
talk
but-
about equations and things like that. What to your mind? What is the most elegant equation in maths or science?
Oh, I know it's going to be corny to any mathematicians, but you got to go with e to the minus I pi. E to the I pi minus 1 equals 0.
Yes,
Because it has all of mathematicians' favorite numbers, pi, e, I, which even though it's called
one.
it's the imaginary component, it still exists.
yes,
It's just weird. But you've also got
because
minus. You've got 1 and 0.
We shouldn't call them imaginary numbers. We should call them complex numbers.
Yes, they're the imaginary components of complex numbers. But
Yes.
even real numbers are complex numbers. They just
Yes.
don't have the imaginary component. It gets confusing.
Yeah.
But that was.
But it's
yeah,
not
that was all
imaginary.
first year
It
uni.
actually has to exist for our number lines don't function properly without complex numbers.
Yep. And in fact, proper number lines aren't one-dimensional, like back and forward. They're two-dimensional. So when you try and plot complex functions, you actually have to plot a graph to another graph.
It blows your mind when you
where I was
learn it.
getting
When you actually are doing high level maths and you start to realize that everything that we do in maths is completely based off number lines.
All right. I think we've
Everything.
hit 11:40,
Yeah, we've hit our
so 30
11:40.
seconds. Oh no, we lost someone. Someone just
lost
dropped,
someone.
and I
Who
think that's
dropped?
happened once or twice. So I'll wait for them to get back, but you got about 20, 30 seconds, and then we will start. So if anyone who has just dropped in, make sure you hit. Let me just quickly put it in case anyone wants to rush in while
What's the
I am
rush in now whilst we get our person back?
talking.
Life.
Yep. I haven't. So yeah, just go to that link, type in the game pin, which I will also copy back in to the chat. But you do have 30 seconds. Actually, I should watch my clock for that one so I can actually do this. There we go. Let's do 20 seconds because I've been talking too long.
9506542. That's Matt's pin number.
Well, it's like Jen told you not to tell anyone. But yes, we'll see how I go as a trivia host. Jen, you're in there somewhere, aren't you?
I am.
Oh yes, polymathic. I should have seen that
Yeah.
one. I was just looking for Jen, and I'm like, I don't see Jen.
no,
I'm
it's
like,
Polly.
oh.
Yeah, I put polymathic in there.
So yes, if there is anyone who wants to jump in, a last moment, but 30 seconds has just timed out. So I'm going to hit start,
Let's do
unless
it.
anyone in the chat puts start. There we go. So hopefully everybody can see this. So this, I just named this set of trivia almost a trivia. I am in control of the speed, but you will have about 20 seconds for each of the questions. So let's start off. Which of these is not a scientific acronym? Herp, derp, fat ass, or big ass? Three, two, one.
Oh,
it is in fact big ass.
Big
Fat
ass.
Herp.
I knew it was one of the asses, and I couldn't remember which one was the right one. Then I guessed the wrong one. Damn it!
Some of the runners-up that I found was proton-enhanced nuclear induction spectroscopy. Which, if anyone, yes. I won't say that one out loud.
Yeah,
but
I knew the new Herp and Derp were correct. It was, and I knew one of the asses was wrong. That was my thing. I couldn't remember which one was. I couldn't remember which one of the asses was the correct ass.
One of my favorite acronyms that actually got into a scientific paper that I saw, but I didn't think was quite appropriate to put up as part of the question, was copper nanotubes, but where they spelt copper as CU.
Oh dear.
All right, I think on to the next one. So, who was... Oh, okay. No one got that one. We're all on 0, so that was a great start from me. So, double points for this one. What is this? And that, by the way, that is the little highlighted blue thing there. Sorry, I know the actual video...
I was wondering what you were pointing at.
One. Yeah, there is a little arrow on it. Sorry, I tried to get a bigger one, but this was the one I could actually get from NASA. I do know there is a bit of delay in the actual, like the YouTube one. Yes, that is in fact Earth. That is our pale blue dot, but that's the newer version taken by Cassini rather than the original Voyager one. Yeah. But I think I've done it, so it should bring up the questions. If not, I could always like end the game and restart it and give people more time, but that will take me a bit. I think it's all right. All right. I will also start reading the questions as soon as I can so you know what you're looking for. All right. Which of these is not a color of blood found in the animal kingdom? Black, clear, blue, or red? And this is the natural color, so not like oxidized or anything. So while it is inside an animal, black, clear, blue, or red?
I would assume it's that, but biology's not my strong suit. Oh, okay, so it's the other one.
It is in fact black. We do have a few animals that are clear. There's a couple of fish that we find in very cold waters. For some reason, lost all of their oxygen-holding proteins as part of their evolution. They just dissolve just enough oxygen in their blood without needing hemoglobin or hemocyanin or anything. It's really weird.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking. How do you... Well, because hemoglobin and hemocyanin are what gives the blood the color in the first place. So that was one of my thinking. It has to be clear because how does the blood function if it doesn't have one of those in it?
But like how Donald's going, I'd say it's a red. Well,
I'd say it's red.
All right.
You can have black blood.
Okay, next. This is a true or false one. This actor was also a secret agent in World War II when it comes up. So, by the way, I am showing a photo of Sir Christopher Lee. True or false? Was he a secret agent in World War II? Well, this actor was a secret agent in World War II. True or false?
Oh, who cares?
There we go. Oh, yes. Pretty much everyone got that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. He was a secret agent. He was also, I think, a Nazi hunter after the war.
People get to see my expression, so they know when I'm guessing. Actually didn't know that, but it's that sort of trivia.
Yes. Oh, Sammy's got an answer streak of 3.
Well done, Sammy.
Nice. You're taking the lead. There are 50 questions, so you can make a comeback. I do think time is a bit of a thing. But yeah, hopefully it does also show up on people's devices so they don't have to suffer through the delay. But yes, let's activate the next one. Who voiced this character? One of my favorite movies of all time, or at least one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. So yeah, hopefully that comes up for most people. I just noticed my green screen keeps occasionally giving me weird artifacts on my shirt.
was a good movie, Atlantis.
It was, and yes, it was good old Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
It was 2001.
Well, after he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, when he basically
he
started
managed
just doing
to do that, and he
voice
did
acting.
and he also did the sequel as well.
Yeah, and through the reason why you see him in Spin City, in the last season of Spin City, mostly he's behind his desk or doing things, is because that's when his Parkinson had started getting bad enough that he couldn't act. He was struggling to act, so he wanted to do that season before he left the show. And they who was it they replaced him with? Mental blank here. But yeah, that he actually struggled through the last season with his Parkinson's to actually do the show.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pity. He's still around though, isn't he?
He is. He's still around. And he still does voice acting.
See if they do another one. So which of these is not a unit of scientific measurement? I like the picture for this one. Barn, flop, scale, or crab, which is not a unit of measurement.
That's an odd question.
It is, but I'm happy. Most people got that one. Oh, I like that. So, no, not too much of a change in our table. Oh, Jen's in the lead now.
Yeah, sorry.
And I swear I didn't show Jen any pictures.
I do not know what any of these questions are.
first.
And I have had some wrong.
Yes.
So.
Yes, but you get an answer streak. I think you get bonuses.
And that was an
as well,
educated
so
guess. Because
anyway, what is the average color of the universe? Turquoise, beige, orange, or yellow? By the way, the picture that will come up is actually of the universe with a little dot on our place in it.
Well, linear K with a dot on our place in it. Because that's linear K. Whoa! I know I was explaining that and ran out of time. I didn't answer it.
Whoops.
Whoops.
Yes, the average color of the universe is apparently beige.
It's beige, and I knew that. Damn it.
Damn it. Years ago.
Damn it.
Let's see how
ruined my
this
streak,
goes.
I did. I ruined my streak. Giving you all a chance.
You're
there.
still in the lead, but only just. Life is catching up, although I'm still waiting for death to make a comeback so we can say death is catching up with us all. Oh, I think on to the next one. In which Olympics did Australia receive the highest number of gold medals? So yeah, we got Sydney, Beijing, Athens, or Montreal. Sorry, I know that might seem unfair to the
this
in
is wrong.
favor of the Aussies here, but hey, isn't it?
Yeah, because we passed
Have I
our
made a
record
mistake?
today in
Yes, that's why.
Oh, we did it again!
No. Which is why I
Click
didn't
the
put
answer
that in as
first
an
and
option.
then talk about it.
So yes, I know a lot of people might think it was Sydney, but we got 17
beat it.
in Athens, so I think we're on 18.
Yeah, and
now.
we're on 18 now.
Is the USA currently at number 1?
No, China is.
China, that's right, because I think China overtook them, but they couldn't.
Today is the first day I
keep going
actually
backward.
watched any Olympics, and I was only because I was visiting friends and they had it on.
My family set it on, so I've been watching a lot with them because, well, we can't leave the house.
Well, it's
so,
about time I
gotta
actually answer a question instead of just sit there.
But is that going to knock you out? Oh,
It
yes,
is!
and life has
Oh!
taken it, and now I get to stay, and death is catching up on the leaderboard there. Death is
Yeah.
catching up with us all.
Oh,
Well, I guess I'm not included in this race, but hey.
oh wow. That's the way to really mess it up, that is. Don't answer 2 questions in a row that I actually knew the answer to.
Yes. Oh, and I shall move on with the next one, but I'm going to give it a slight delay just so by the time the audio actually reaches the thing, everybody will have at least had some warning. So let's have a look. Which actor has dropped the most F-bombs on screen? You got Samuel L. Jackson,
Sure.
Lindsay Lohan, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Jonah Hill. So who's said the most F words?
Where'd you find this question? Oh, I was wrong.
It is, in fact, Jonah Hill. This one...
I don't even know
actually,
who
my
Jonah
brother
Hill
gave this one
is.
to
There
me.
you go.
21 Jump Street, and he actually comes in at the top mainly because of that
How do
one.
I not know who
and
Jonah Hill
Wolf
is?
of Wall Street.
Oh, but the new version of
um,
21 Jump Street, not the original TV series.
Yes, the new one.
That's why I don't know.
The new one, the sequel, and I think the Wolf of Wall Street, which is also the movie with the most F-bombs in it, is what brought him
I'm
to
going
the
to be
top.
further behind now.
Did you? Well,
I
at least
actually didn't know
answered.
that. I didn't know that one, though. I legitimately had no idea. Oh,
Ooh,
Sammy's ahead of me.
making a
Gone to
comeback.
third. Only just on the podium now. Ooh. True or false?
True or false? Elvis Presley released a song called Jailhouse Spanking. Sorry.
I don't even like Elvis Presley.
To each his own. Oh, stop telling me who else is playing games. I'm not interested.
Yay, I got it right.
Yes, of course it's false. The song was Jailhouse Rock.
Yes,
I just
did know
found that picture and was like, that's pretty funny.
Jailhouse
Again, I can
Spanky
thank my brother for that question. He originally proposed it to me as a multiple choice.
I'm
and I
sorry, I'm
changed
not
it
really
to true,
watching the
false.
chat as much as I should be and bringing up people's comments. So I apologize because I've only got 3 screens and I don't have enough room to put everything on everything.
I'm just trying to look at the chat as well. I think someone said slander. That could be towards you saying you don't like Elvis. I don't know.
I'm not a huge Elvis fan. There are songs of Elvis's I like, but I'm not a huge Elvis fan.
It was well before my time, but I think he was like...
I'd rather the
people
Beatles.
liked him so much they didn't care he was a terrible actor. They still let him into movies. That's my understanding. But a lot of the Elvis songs I'm familiar with came from Lilo and Stitch, which was the first movie I ever saw on DVD. It was the first one we had by the time we got a DVD player. Because yes, I am old enough to know what a VCR machine is. Not by much, but I am. All right, I think... that changed things a little bit. Life and death are neck and neck. Or at least next to each other, making a comeback. Polymathic's making a comeback.
Yep.
But yeah, I think in the next question is in calling. So, which of these is not a dinosaur? A pterodactyl, a triceratops, a chicken, or an allosaurus?
That was an easy one.
I couldn't make them all too hard. By the way, if anyone's wondering...
We gave
I'm
the
pretty
answer
sure
to this last week.
Yes. Again, there's a couple in here that will be easy if you're a regular on the channel. Yes, most people got it. The pterodactyl, in fact, the chicken, which only one person went for, is still a dinosaur, and an allosaurus was like it was a bit like a T-Rex, but from earlier in the
Slightly smaller
Jurassic,
too.
not the Cretaceous. Yes, but it's the most common predator found in most of the fossil beds in North America. It makes up for like 80% of the large carnivores.
Yeah.
Very common one, but yeah. Oh, well, people did very well on that one. I'm happy. Oh, death's overtaken life now. Oh, it's neck and neck.
Battle of
They got,
life
like,
and
it's
death.
less than it's like a time thing too. You get extra points if you answer quickly. So maybe it's slightly unfair if people have trouble reading their
that's a
screens.
good reason for answering before I talk about them. Not just so I don't miss the answering the question.
But I think Sammy needs to keep up the competition with Polymathic for that first place.
Come on, Sammy. Let's do this, Sammy.
All right, so next one. Which pop star accidentally burnt down their home gym with candles? Britney Spears, Miley Cyrus, Ed Sheeran, or Lady Gaga? I'm definitely increasing the time limit if we do this again, but still, it's going fairly smooth.
Mostly because we're all joking around and having fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm wrong.
Yeah, it was in fact Britney Spears.
I knew it was one or two and I couldn't remember which one it was.
Yes, I tried this one on my friends as well, and they're not as big of nerds as I am, and actually a lot of them got it. But
So,
yeah, I didn't know that one either. I learnt that one for when I was making these questions. So there's that too. If that makes anyone feel better, I wouldn't have got it. Not a single change in the scoreboard.
ooh.
Which football player has a galaxy named after them? Tim Cahill, Diego Maradona, David Beckham, or Cristiano Ronaldo? By the way, if anyone's wondering, the telescope in the picture is a laser one that counts the variation in the atmosphere. Oh, it is in fact Cristiano Ronaldo. The galaxy is CR7, which is a reference to him and his jersey number. But it was named after him.
Who got the right to
Don't
name
worry,
that one? No change again?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Nerds down there. Oh, look at that. Does that mean I can cross them out? I hope not. It's, up 3 places because it doesn't quite show everyone.
Yeah.
So I guess we can bring up. By the way, which chemical is the most toxic? Methanol, arsenic, tetrodotoxin, or cyanide? All of them will kill you, but which one will kill you first? In the lowest dose.
Geez, I should know this because we did this a couple of weeks back.
We didn't quite cover it, but yeah, I'm happy nobody chose methanol, but it's tetrodotoxin by almost an order of magnitude.
Yeah.
It's cyanide, I think, coming in at the next one, and then arsenic, and then methanol's just way off. But they're all
drink a lot of alcohol to kill yourself.
Yeah, I think methanol is like a gram, or I did look this up just before, but like the rest are like I think tetrodotoxin is micrograms, cyanide and arsenic are milligrams, and then methanol is like a couple of 100 milligrams.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to bring a few more science ones. Oh, still no change.
Yeah.
You're still climbing for that first place though. I'll see how this goes. But we aren't even halfway. Maybe I should go
challenge
fast. Which country produces the most beer by volume? Got China, Team America, Mexico, and Japan. This is a question I thought of, and then I went looking for the answer. Is in fact China. Not a lot of people got that one. Oh,
is it really? It's China. Wow.
Yeah, China by like nearly double. I think America might be the biggest exporter, but I think China produces the most. Sorry? That one surprised me too. I did think it was going to be America. Oh, Nerds is coming up that leaderboard. All right, true or false? Guinness World Records was started by Guinness, the beer brand, to give people something to talk about in bars. I just realized how weird my green screen is looking when I lean forward. I half disappear. I better stay seated back. Oh, yeah, just more than half thought it was false. It is in fact true. Guinness World Records and Guinness are the same company. So, Polymathic, you've made it into first.
Yay.
Somebody, come on, Sammy. Death. Somebody's got to catch up. I can't make it look like I cheated. All right, next question. Which is the hottest planet in the solar system by surface temperature? Got Mercury, the winged messenger, Venus, the god of love, Jupiter of sky and thunder, and Io, a mortal lover of Zeus, who creepily enough has also been depicted in some sculptures as being fairly young, but not all. Is in fact Venus, which the majority of people got because of its lovely sulfuric acid atmosphere.
Very, very
a runaway greenhouse gas. Yes.
Yeah.
Mercury and Venus are both hot enough to melt lead on the surface of them. The longest we've had a probe survive on Venus is 2 hours, and we can thank the Russians for that. However, we can also thank the Russians for not getting a very good measurement of the hardness of Venus's surface. Again, that'll be in the video that I'm trying to make, so I won't spoil that one, but they had quite a few technical failures. It's quite funny, actually. Ooh, no visible changes on the leaderboard, but maybe a bit further down. Let's have a look at... All right. Horses are originally native to which continent? So in which continent did horses first evolve? Do you think you got this one, Jen?
Yeah, I think so.
Or is this
I can't remember.
Or is this too much biology?
Too much. Yeah. I got it right.
Yeah, it is in fact North America. They crossed the Bering Land Bridge over where they were domesticated in
I actually
Central Asia.
See, it came out in North America, and I thought it was actually South America. So, but
I'm pretty sure the first proper species of horse was noted in North America. I did check that one with the PBS and Eons videos, so you can blame them if that one's wrong. Well, yes, you can also blame me for not checking further, but I think on to the next one. Oh, we have had a change. Ooh. Nerds is coming up there. Maybe he'll catch you, Polymathic.
Maybe. Nerdy's quite bright.
I can't remember where... Oh, Chernobyl was a reactor Bolshoi Moshosnovsky Kanalny type reactor. How many of these are still in operation today? So, how many of the Chernobyl type reactors are still running?
Quite a few.
Yeah, like the actual Chernobyl plant itself wasn't fully decommissioned until 2000.
Yeah.
It's quite a scary one, but it is in fact 10.
Oh, it's 10.
10 currently running, all of them in the ex-Soviet Union.
Yeah.
There's a reason the rest of the world didn't build any like the one at Chernobyl.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah.
Yeah, no, they didn't. No, they followed more the American style. Which isn't without its fault.
Yes, because... Well, it was to do with the heavy water. The rest, all other nuclear reactors use heavy water as a moderator. But heavy water was too expensive for the Soviet Union. So they built a reactor that had a fatal flaw in it. And didn't realize it. I just realized life has overtaken death.
Whoa.
See how that goes. In 1698, Tsar Peter I of Russia introduced what to the empire? Vodka, beard tax, conscription, or marijuana?
History.
I thought it was a little different for a history question.
I want it to be beard tax.
Well, you are correct.
I didn't check it though.
Introduced a beard tax. Oh, what did you go for?
Vodka.
What was your pick? Vodka, yeah, it was a beard tax. He actually wanted his people to be more clean-shaven like the rest of Europe, to look more Western, so he introduced a tax. And if you weren't carrying a specific coin from the government, the Russian police were allowed to hold you down and shave you. They're allowed to arrest you and shave you. Yeah.
That is brilliant.
It's a weird part of Russian history, and it is a lot nicer than some of the things that came later. But yeah, that's all I remember Peter the First for was the beard tax. Don't worry, I think there's only one other history question I've got. The rest are fairly random, like we've seen. But sorry, two more. This being one of them. But of course, nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. But when did it end? 1508, 1642, 1834, or it never technically ended. I'm just thinking of the Monty Python line with the rack.
Get the comfy chair.
Yes.
Oh.
It is, in fact, it was 1834. It wasn't until after the Napoleonic Wars.
I didn't realise that. Okay.
Yeah. But it didn't...
I knew it was
kept running.
It was either late or it hadn't, so...
Yeah, it was basically their secret police, and it wasn't until like 2 decades after, nearly 2 decades after Napoleon's death. I think 18 years after his death. Looking at that, I think he died in 16. Sorry, I'm not good with numbers all the time,
Or
despite
history.
what I do. No, I'm all right with history.
Oh, I'm not.
Just not this bit of history. I can't remember exactly which year he died.
If Chris
I know
is
he
in
was
the chat,
crowned
he's
in
going,
1803.
You're all useless. You're all useless.
Yeah, he was crowned in 1803 as emperor, and he crowned himself because he didn't trust anyone else to do it, and he didn't want the church to do it. He was fairly against the church, which upset a lot of people in France, as you can imagine. Oh, no changes from that one. Oh, well, not visible on the board. Or double points for this one. What does the E stand for in laser? Emission, energy, electromagnetic, or sharks? And we all know who the sharks is for. I do like this one because there we go. I'm assuming you got this one right, Jen.
Actually, I didn't.
Oh, you...
I clicked the wrong box.
How can I... Oh, okay.
That's why I
Claim
looked
it was
funny
an
after I
accident.
did it. I go, idiot.
How can my co-host get this one wrong, considering
Yeah.
that all my lasers... I'm glad no one clicked sharks. But there we go, Nerdy. There's your shout out.
No, that's all right. That's my mental
Yes.
blank for the evening.
It is, yeah,
By emission,
laser is
yeah.
light. Yeah, light amplification by the stimulated emission of radiation.
Yeah.
And yes, the stimulated emission comes from Einstein. He was the one who coined it. Ooh,
Yeah, you know what's really dumb about it? I
people
legitimately clicked the wrong button. I went through the acronym to figure out what it was and then went click and go. You see look on my face.
Whoops.
The back of it go, idiot.
Oh, I've done that so many times in these before. Well, you are pulling ahead. I'm hoping if someone catches. I should have put more history questions then.
Yeah,
We
it's
should
all
have
right.
invited Chris.
I'm able to screw myself over by forgetting to click buttons and clicking the wrong buttons.
I'll just keep talking to you. I have a very great friend in Rome called Biggest Anus, Biggest Pilus, Biggest Dickus, or Hairius Lesbianus. By the way, one of them is actually a Roman name. I'm pretty sure you can probably guess which one is a real... Well, they're two separate names that I've put together, but yeah, of course. There we go. Bit of a giveaway, that one.
Yeah.
It's a Monty Python quote. But the last one there is actually a Roman name. We have records of people being called that, which... Oh, well. Life has made a comeback. Ooh, Sammy's getting closer to you, Jen.
He is, because he clicked quicker than me.
How many muscles does the human body have? 350, 450, 550, or 650?
Is it that one? Biology. Damn you.
See, I had to throw a few in there that would slow Jen down.
Yeah.
Is in fact the maximum number. We have quite a few muscles, particularly small
Yes,
ones.
I knew we had quite a few, so it was a guess between the two highest, and I didn't pick the highest.
Yes.
Because I do those things in questions where usually if you have a range,
Oh,
it's up
you've
near the
been
highest.
displaced.
I have by life. Life took me out.
And nerds.
And nerds, yeah.
Nerdy's taking you out. Just,
but
but
all
it's still close. It's a close game, but see, that's what I like. It does change. There are one or two more double point questions too. Which country has the largest population? Indonesia, Mexico, Japan, or Russia? And it's the largest population out of the list here, not the most populous country, because I thought that would be too easy.
Yeah, that one's way too easy.
There we go. Oh, yeah, between Russia and Indonesia. I'm not too surprised, but yes, it is in fact Indonesia. I think they're number 3, I believe, or number 4. I think it's China, India, America. Then I think it is Indonesia. Russia's further down. I think Mexico is
Question is,
ahead
4
of
of us
Russia.
got that right. Is that going to change the leaderboard at all? Yes.
Oh, it does.
Ooh.
Just.
Just.
It's still only a question in it between you, and Jesus is making a comeback there.
Woo.
Although, well, no, I was going to make a joke. but I
Jesus
probably
likes
shouldn't.
pop culture questions.
Don't have too many more. There is one that it was too good not to put in, but that one's towards the end. We have crossed that way. But what year was the first electrical computer built? 1919, 1929, 39, or 43?
Depends what you call an electrical computer.
Like the one on screen, like what we would understand. That's why.
Then I've clicked the wrong. Then I've actually clicked the wrong one, but that's fine.
Oh. Right. It's also why I didn't say first computer, because then you get mechanical computers. But it was in the middle of the war. It was at Bletchley Park. It was 1943.
Yes, but
I think that was a harder one.
Yes, technically, that there's technically earlier work done by, I think, was still electronic computers technically. So you can go back to 39 for stuff. So that's why I asked you, but I clicked the the button before you gave me the answer because I didn't want to be too late.
Yeah, so yeah.
And a few people did the same thing as me.
Yeah. Maybe I should have given it to both those, but I can't change that in hindsight, unfortunately.
Can't. That's fine.
Sorry, everyone. But
all right, Matt.
The first full proper computer, as we would understand an electrical computer, was 43, which was, nerdy's catching up there.
See, this throws it. That type of question throws it all in.
Well, and Life has got a pretty good answer streak, so he might be coming back. So he's keeping up there. It's going to be a fight to catch back up, but as we can see, it changes very quickly. The American World War II coding system was called Rainbow. Sorry, there were more history questions than I thought. So yeah. Now there's one or other history question that I know of after this, actually. Sorry, that was the one I was originally thinking of. Yeah, it's false. They didn't actually really have a name for it. They did have the Navajo one, though, where they actually used like Native American the Navajo language.
Yeah, it was a particular language. It wasn't even it was a particular dialect of Navajo, and the reason for using it was it had no semantic similarities to any other known languages at the time. So it was almost impossible to decode unless you could speak the language.
And there was only like 16 people in the world. Only 16 people in the world that could speak it, and they're all in America. And the US Army just drafted them all, and just had them tail around with all the head generals. It was an ingenious way of doing it, though, because it was just like there was awesome. You couldn't crack the code because it was just a different language.
Again, I'm terribly sorry, chat, that I'm not paying enough attention to you.
Kitty's there too.
Hey,
sorry, Kitty didn't make earlier. We'll see how this goes. Nerdy. I just noticed Nerdy's probably way earlier comments. It's always sharks. Yes. Apparently with you, it is always sharks. Although Death is catching up, hasn't been too bad of a race between Life and Death here. But what surface has been mapped to the greatest accuracy or the highest resolution? The bottom of Earth's oceans, the surface of Mars, the surface of Mercury, or that of Pluto with the fairly recent flyby? New Horizons, I believe.
I did it again. Took too long.
You forgot once more. Is in fact the surface of Mars. We actually have a better understanding of what the surface of Mars looks like than the bottom of our oceans.
I was actually we have some actual really good maps of Mercury now, and I'm wondering, are they actually better than Mars now? So
Mars is a lot closer, so it's easier to spot. Yeah, I know, because we've done flybys, but I think Mars, because there are
average, Earth is closer to Mercury than it is to Mars.
True, but it may not be easier to spot. I'm pretty sure Mars is
to send a probe to Mercury is easier than Mars.
Yes,
because Mercury is more often closer.
But Mars is been more popular though, so it's had more probes sent to it. We've never landed anything on on Mercury, but we've landed on Mars quite a few times now.
Yeah.
I've been following Perseverance to see it's doing a whole bunch of tests, so it's probably going to make the video I'm doing be slightly out of date by the time I release it. But hey, that's how science goes. Ooh, got nerds coming up. Nerdy's going to be a good contender too.
I need to stop debating these things in my head and go, yeah, no, click the one that is obvious.
True or false? Margarine was originally developed as a feedstock for turkeys.
No.
Can't give the answer away. Or maybe not.
I could be conning people.
You could be. But you're not.
I know I'm
No.
not.
But it was an urban legend for a while, and it's what lost me a trivia game once when it was like one of the competitions where it's like true or false, and you just keep going until there's only 2 people left. And I was one of the 2 people. It was in front of a lot of academics. It was the first conference I was at. It was one of the evening events. So I could have shown to like all of the really smart people that I could do trivia. It's like the best I've ever done in a trivia, and I lost to that question. Damn it. Oh, well. But yes, apparently an urban legend for a while.
Catching back up to
Oh,
life.
you are making a comeback. Come on, Nerdy, you got to beat Jen. Am I allowed to say that despite I'm co-hosting?
I'm happy if they beat me. That's perfectly fine.
I got to keep the competition going.
Yeah, keep the competition going. Keep it exciting.
All right. Okay, so next one. Samsung originally sold what? Semiconductors, dried fish, insurance, or electronics? This is one of my favorite bits of trivia. It is, in fact, dried fish. They sold groceries, dried fish, and fruit and vegetables.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then they somehow got it transferred into electronics down the line. It's such a weird, like, little...
That's a weird bit of trivia, that one.
It is. I love it.
I did not know that. I went with the average guess that everybody else did because I know there was a lot of companies that used to do insurance and went into electronics. Nintendo was one of them.
Yeah, that's right. Nintendo's another one with a weird like origin that just somehow ended up in gaming. That did very well.
I mean, if you compare it to some of the American companies like Commodore before it went bust, Commodore was originally a typewriter manufacturing company. So to go from that to doing computers and calculators when typewriters, calculators, computers made sense. But in Japan, that's not what happened with most of these companies. They went from weird things to electronics.
But yeah, I just love that Samsung at one point sold dry fish. I just kind of wish that you could go in and be like, I'd like to buy a phone, and is that a bit of hake over in the corner?
Yeah.
But I mean, dried fish, when you mix it with with seaweed, you get that umami because you need 2 different chemicals to trigger that flavor. Because it's like a protein that folds, and it partially folds with one and then has to completely fold over when you get both. So it's a couple of amino acids or protein chains and MSG, which is no worse for you than salt. Another bit of trivia there. Don't worry, I'm not giving any questions away. I'm very careful not to do that. And if anyone's noticed, I have been very careful with the pictures. They don't give the answers away, and if they do correspond with one of the answers, I've made it so that it's enough hit and misses to whether it's the right one that you won't be able to use them to guess. Or at least hopefully won't. I mean, you could roll the dice, but it's not going to probably save anyone.
I mean, rolling the dice a few times.
Yeah, Powerwolf's on the board. 18's on the board here. The nice answer streak there. So yeah, we'll see if we can get the next one then. All right. Which experiment won the 2020 Physics Ig Nobel Prize? If anyone watches Navadia's channel, you might know this one because I made an appearance in that video to talk about this one. But by the way, all of the answers there are real Ig Nobel Prizes.
Oh,
is in fact putting. Yeah, it was the demonstration of Faraday waves in worms by putting them on a subwoofer and making them shake.
oh, I remember you doing that video now. I should have got that question. Damn it. I did not.
Well,
So
it
this
looks
should be
like
interesting.
yes, looks like not a lot of people have seen that one, but it's one of my earlier videos. So, oh well, when physicists get bored, I think was the thumbnail. But it's one of my earlier ones, not one of the better ones. I'm not
Hardly
suggesting you
anyone
go and
got
watch
that.
that one. Yes, it's made like no changes. Yeah, I don't make the easiest one, but here, true or false? Donald Trump has been awarded an Ig Nobel Prize. See how this one goes.
You got 50-50 chance, people. But he did.
He did. He got the 2020 Medicine and Physiology Prize along with other world leaders.
Which was pretty much for his was pretty much for drink chlorine.
Yeah,
Drink bleach.
it was all of the. It was pretty much a combined thing about all of the handling of COVID by a bunch of the world leaders. So I think the Mexican president, Brazilian president, Boris Johnson also all got them as well. So it was a bit of a screw you to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, yes, from them, because the Ig Nobel Prizes are not the Nobel Prizes.
Yeah.
They can do that. But they're definitely worth going for a
I
watch.
caught up a
Ooh,
bit.
you are climbing back towards life there.
Yeah.
And we'll see how this goes. What has been the most successful computer game of all time by just number of sales, so not revenue?
Oh.
GTA 5, COD, Modern Warfare, Super Mario Bros, or Minecraft? And I do understand it's going to be a bit weird that there's a delay between me reading this out in the chat, but I think there's an overlap of a couple of seconds. Yes, it is in fact. As most people got, which surprises me, it is in fact Minecraft.
Which is one of those interesting things, because when I give it away, by the time people hear it, they've actually run out of time to answer the question.
Yeah, by more than double. They've had more than 200 million sales, with the next one being GTA 5. GTA 5, and I think it's Tetris are the only other two to break 100, and everything else is below 100.
Now,
And then
do you know
Minecraft
what is the
is
most
double.
successful computer of all time?
Computer?
Most successful.
Oh no.
If you're talking about an
Wouldn't do well.
individual platform of computer system, what is the most successful?
I'm trying to remember. I have the feeling it'd be one of those really early ones.
Well, it was
Not-
for a very long time, but it is not anymore.
Oh, you got to get like a MacBook Pro then or something.
No, the original holder was the Commodore 64. The Commodore 64 had sold more computers
Yeah,
than
that was what
any
was in my
other
mind
system
until you.
ever, until recently. In the last couple of years, it was taken over by something else. And it's not the type of computer that you generally first think of.
Is it like a smartphone or something?
No.
Uh.
The Raspberry Pi.
Oh.
The Raspberry Pi now has had more sales of computer systems than the Commodore 64 ever did. And I know it's made by lots of different people, so some people are saying it's not a fair comparison because Commodore was one company that just made the 64, as lots of people do. But the Raspberry Pi has sold more computers than
But it's also... Yeah, but so what you think of as a whole computer, but I guess you're right then. I did not know that.
It's not something you would think of.
I've got a system in here that is behind my green screen that is very close to a Raspberry Pi, but it's a bit more powerful. I used in my research because, yes, I had to bring some of it home because I'm not allowed to go to uni at the moment. But
yeah,
oh well. I guess we shall endeavour to move forward. So we're getting on now. The word muscle comes from the Latin word meaning mobile, power, little mouse, or lines. There's one for nerdy.
Yeah. My Latin's not great.
is in fact a little mouse, because they thought when you moved your muscles around in your hand, it looked like little rodents moving around.
Oh wow! I did not know that.
Yeah, it's a weird one, but yeah, I didn't either. But I found that one was like, that's got to go in there. And now that I think about it, it makes a lot of sense, because the Latin word for mouse is mus. It's one of the few Latin words I know. So there's one for nerdy. I actually know what mouse is in about 5 different languages. Latin being one of them.
Yep.
For Arabic is fora, which is very different from most languages. German is just mouse as well, so not very creative compared to English, but hey. Oh, no change there.
Oh, those of us at the top had no idea.
Pluto was named by an 11-year-old girl. True or false? Yes, with its big heart-shaped Sputnik Planitia. Oh, 50-50. Not expecting that, but yes, Pluto was named by an 11-year-old girl. Which is, I think, the only planet to be named like that. Yeah. Despite the fact that it does still fit in with the theme of Roman gods. So Pluto is Hades.
Though to be fair, the Uranus used to be called St. George's planet. Not George's planet, that's right. Not St. George's. After King George, because somebody decided, and then it got renamed because the convention naming planets after gods. So
yes, but I guess that could have been another trivia one. I could have done that.
If you had done it, I would have just screwed it up for you. I just realised that. Man, I shouldn't be talking about trivia things possibly.
Yes, well, I haven't actually done that one here, but I've just forgotten what I was going to say. So I guess just on with the next question then.
On with the next question. On with the show.
Yes, but yeah, a little bit of a delay for everyone to catch up. Oh, you're in the lead again.
Ooh,
all right. What is the loudest sound ever recorded? The Saturn V rocket ignition, the detonation of the Tsar Bomba 50 megaton hydrogen bomb, the eruption of Krakatoa, or the meteorite impact that created the Ackerman crater in South Australia?
Ooh.
Now, the meteorite impact was actually before we were recording sounds. I think it was well before had complex life anyway. But yes, it is in fact the eruption of Krakatoa. It's heard like a continent away or something.
Yeah, but it wasn't. You said sound recorded. It was at. Oh, I'm an idiot.
Which one were you?
No, I'm an idiot. I read the question as somebody actually recorded it. Not written it down, recorded it, but recorded it.
Yeah.
Because I'm an idiot.
I've tried to be as careful as I can with the
No, that's entirely
wordings.
my fault. No, your wording is quite correct. It was just my brain went with they recorded it. So, okay, it can't be Krakatoa then. I knew it was the loudest sound, but they couldn't have recorded it. Now I feel really sad.
Nerds is making a comeback. I wonder if he'll be a contender for first. He's on the podium. And Sammy is, but neck and neck with Sammy, less than a question in it. As with most of them. True or false? Camels store water in their humps. I think this is a fairly common trivia question, but I'm curious as to whether people have seen this one before.
The interesting thing about it is it's not the loudest sound there is. The underwater sound of ice, of underwater glaciers scraping across is actually louder within the ocean than what the explosion in Krakatoa. Because
part of that is also due to the properties of water and that sound travels better. I think in terms of an energy point of view, Krakatoa might still have it, but yeah, that's a good point. Which is why it wasn't one of the options.
Yes, I know.
Also, yes, camels don't store water in their humps. It's one of those facts everyone thinks are true, but it's not. They store fat. The water they just store in their bellies and in their system.
To be fair, they could probably break down the fat and get some fluid out of it, but that's beside the point.
But generally, the process of breaking down fat takes more energy and takes water. It's why if you're dehydrated and like stranded in the middle of nowhere, if you don't have water but you have food, don't eat the food because it'll speed up your decline. So you should only eat food if you've got access to water.
Yeah.
Well, most foods anyway, because it takes more water to digest foods than you'll get back out of them.
Mind you, if you've got an ice block, you should be fine.
Yeah, just don't stick the ice block in other orifices other than your mouth, which was a warning that people have had to give out. But well, look, there's a bit of a change to the leaderboard here. Nerdy is only just clinging on. Powerwolf has had a nice streak there. Sammy's still up there and Life's there, but Death's dropped off a bit. Although I think that happened a tiny bit ago. Hopefully everybody's enjoying this though. But which letter is not on the periodic table? P, Z, V, or J?
Yes.
And yes, if anyone does want to read through and figure out what the picture
there's several
says.
letters that aren't on the periodic table, to be honest.
Yeah, which is why I was also very careful.
And the main reason
I'm happy.
The main reason for it isn't because people didn't like naming after things like that. There's a convention to use Latin names and letters like J and Q, and that don't appear commonly in Latin words. So therefore, you're not going to have them. There's no reason you can't use a non-Latin name for naming, but convention has been to use Latin names. So, and I only know this because I was reading it the other day.
Although I think that convention has changed recently, that now you can name them after scientists.
Yes.
But the scientists can't be alive anymore.
They have to make it...
You have to be dead. You have to be dead to have a element named after you, but you have to be alive to get a Nobel Prize. You cannot be
also name after
awarded a Nobel Prize.
Found it, because you've got Americanium as well. So you can...
Americium. To avoid that problem.
Yeah, so,
I'm just sitting back enjoying my popcorn.
If Japan actually manufacture an element further up in the periodic table, you could have Japanium, in which case you'd have a J.
Yeah. They've had a few though. I think they've made a few.
Yeah.
But apparently China is the one building the most colliders like that at the moment. They're taking over in terms of reactors. So
will we end up with a Chinesium? I just want
don't think we quite call it that.
I just want there to be a Chinesium.
I just get hungry every time I sung the periodic table song. There's hydrogen and helium, and Chinesium. Oh, where's food? Do like my Chinese food. And on that note, on with the next question. Change of the leaderboard, but we can come back to it. Mammoths were still alive when the Great Pyramids of Giza were built, or the Great Pyramid under Cheops or Khufu. Khufu, if I'm saying that right. But that's the biggest one, not the tallest one. It's built on slightly lower ground.
This is an odd trick question because there's some weird things about this as an answer. I got it right, but...
Yes. Yeah, there was a small population of mammoths still alive on an island off the coast of Siberia called Ross Island. Unfortunately, the population was too small, and so genetically were doomed.
Yes. So they were also smaller than the other mammals because of where they were. So they had become a bit smaller. And some of the mutation. Oh, sorry. Sorry. No.
Delay got me. Some of the mutations that they noted that they have noted in the bones they found show that some of them were actually starting to degrade their ability to survive in the cold, like it was changing their coats and things like that. So yeah, they reckon it wasn't very good for them by the end. But They survived there because humans didn't tend to settle on the island. It wasn't very easy. And the first human settlement was a few hundred years after they disappeared. But they survived to about 4,500 years ago, which was around the time the pyramids. So it was just after, like they survived till I think just after that period of Egypt. But they did not, as I originally was once heard, survive until the time of Jesus, supposed time of Jesus. But they did die out earlier than that. But there's a lot of mammoths, and in fact...
But there was a Russian elephant at that time.
Yes, there's elephants all over the place. And in fact, the current living elephants, the two species we've got, the African and the Asian, although it looks like there might actually be two species of African elephant, but they're not claiming it like that because it'll make them even more endangered than they are, or more... It looks worse, something like that.
Yeah.
But the African and Asian elephants are more closely related with the extinct mammoths than they are with each other. So they didn't come from like a common elephant. They actually, their ancestors split off earlier. So yeah, man. But yeah, and there was elephants all over the Middle East as well, and North Africa.
There was quite a few
But we can thank the Romans for that one. Yes, we can also thank the Romans for no lions in the Middle East. And no, like a lot of animals not in the Middle East. They took them out for their games. They loved throwing them in the Colosseum, amongst other places. But yeah, I think we shall move on with that. So, avocado comes from the Aztec word for big seed, lumpy, testicle, or green.
Who knows?
Do you know this one, Jen?
I don't.
You can tell I like my history, but this one's more linguistics than history.
I like linguistics too.
Most
right.
people got this one. Yeah, it is actually from that, because they thought that's what they looked like, particularly if they grew in a pair.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
And I was pretty sure avocado wasn't a color name as well, so it doesn't sound like an Aztec color name. So.
Yeah. We've got 3 people have got an answer streak of 4, so we could have some changes soon. Here we go. What does the term mencolic mean? Male digestion, tapping someone on the shoulder to trick them, an ancient sea fossil from the Precambrian period, and the medical term for feeling slow and run down. Is actually the term for tapping someone on the shoulder to trick them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, there is actually a word for
someone
that.
Knew it.
It's called a mencolic. I didn't know that one either, but I was looking up things, random trivia questions, and found that one.
That's a good bit of random trivia. Oh, this game is going to end so close.
It is, but I just like, it's like, did you just try and mencolic me?
That's a word you've got to use now.
Yeah, I have the feeling where it's going to appear in our chat almost every time we do this show. Death and life are neck and neck again.
And death was the only one.
This is interesting.
Right.
Yeah, it's still like, I know you pulled ahead a bit, but it's not a lot. Like, there's still enough questions for this to change.
Sammy could beat me.
What was the boat in Jaws called? Quinty, Orca, Marlin, or Jawsy McJaw's face?
I know it's one of 2, and I've had to guess.
And
I've guessed the wrong one.
It is in fact.
I know
Orca.
I guessed it wrong. Damn it!
What did you go for?
I went with Marlin, but I remembered before that came out that it was Orca.
Yes.
So damn it.
And Quinty was, I believe, the actual character, not the
Quinty
boat.
was the character. Yeah.
I'm glad no one went Jawsy McJaw's face.
This could put Sammy ahead of me.
And it does. See how close it is. Oh, I love this. So excited. It's so close.
I know you've got a couple more.
Nerdy's holding on there. He's come back onto the leaderboard.
Also know you've got a couple more general trivia at the end, pop trivia. so I'm gonna
Yeah.
struggle.
We'll see, but according to Pornhub, what was the most searched term in 2019? I could not find 2020. Sorry, guys. All of these were up there in like the top 20, but I'm not going to say
one.
quite yet which is number one.
It's a real guess. I have no idea. And I'm wrong.
Oh, only one person got that one.
Japanese.
Yeah, that one surprised me.
If
Does
it's
that say
Sammy,
how much of a nerd I am? That I'll actually, because roughly every year, although I don't think they did it, they've done it for 2020, which is why I couldn't find data from last year. The major sites release their stats, and I will go through and read some of the stats just because I'm that much of a nerd. But if anyone wants a good laugh, look up all of the lists for like the slash fiction type, all the funny names that it takes on real movies. Like,
Wow.
is it well, one of my favorites was Lawrence of Arabia. There's some good ones, but you'll also notice that for that one, I was careful with the picture I did. Instead, I went with a little meme.
Yeah.
I think the original version of the trivia had
it
two
wasn't me or
questions on it.
Sammy.
Oh, hasn't changed the positions, but you two are still close.
We are still really close.
All right. 44. Where is the annual World Duck Calling Contest held?
Oh, it has to be there, doesn't it?
You might think
I've taken
so.
a long time to click that, so if I'm right, I'm not going to get many points for it.
Where have you thought?
I'll tell you, yeah, I was right.
There we go. Yes, it is in. I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently Arkansas every year holds a World Duck Calling Contest.
Oh, wow. It kind of has to be.
A lot more,
it's
you know, I
not
guess.
the sort of thing I'd imagine Floridians doing. Duck swearing at
No.
contest, or maybe crocodile wrangling. Yeah.
Yeah, you the Florida man throws an alligator into the
Here,
the
here Daffy.
drive-through of a Macca's.
Daffy. Come, Daffy. Donald. Sit, Donald. Sit.
But what animal would best suit Donald? If you're going to have a pet called Donald that you're going to train to do things, what would be the best pet? There's my question now for the chat. I want to see what animal would it be? Oh, well. And with that, no changes to the top three, but Death has pushed Nerdy off the leaderboard. Let's see what happens. There are still 6 questions left. Which of these is not a real animal? The barefaced go-away bird, the demon duck of doom, the spiny-tailed wobblefish, or the pink fairy armadillo? I had a lot of fun coming up with this question.
And guess what? I don't know again. I've had to guess. And I'm wrong. Oh.
Yes. The demon duck of doom was actually a gastronus. It was a giant, what they originally thought, if anyone's seen Walking with Beasts in the first one,
Yeah.
the giant terror bird. But they actually got it wrong. Isotope analysis now has pretty much shown that it was probably entirely herbivorous, and its big beak was for crushing
I knew where I knew I'd
seeds,
heard
but-
it, but I always thought it was a joke thing that people had done. But no, you're right. It wasn't that. So I should have known it was But no one got that.
So
no one got it.
So the demon duck of doom is an Australian one. If you go into Sydney and go to the museum there, they've got a skull of it on display, and that was where I was thinking of it from. And yes, the barefaced go-away bird is a good Wikipedia. Look, somebody just wanted to name it that.
Yeah.
I don't know how they came up with a pink fairy armadillo, but there were so many other animals I could have put in there.
Yeah.
The wobblegong is another Australian one that's pretty funny.
Wobblegong, yeah.
Does that change anything?
No, because
Ooh,
no one
not a
got it.
thing.
Nobody got that one at all.
That's right. What's the loudest animal on Earth? So currently alive, we got sperm whale, blue whale, lion, or elephant.
It's one of the two.
What are you thinking, Jen?
It's one of the two. But which one? It's unfair. Damn it! It's the other one.
It's because they dive deep into the ocean, go looking for food in darker environments, so they can produce louder sounds. Particularly with the what's the feature on their head called? I think it is where they get the name from.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, it's because they hunt using echolocation.
They actually use their echolocation as a weapon because it's like a bladder, but it's how they create their echolocation thing, and it's the largest one of all the whales, and they can actually stun squids with it. So when they actually basically use sound to stun the squids before they catch them and eat them. So if they miss, sometimes the squids get the better of them. Because there has been cases where the Architeuthis has actually killed the whale.
Yeah, and a lot of the older sperm whales have a lot of scars and cuts on their heads from fighting giant squids. It's kind of like a battle that sounds like it came out of a movie, like some corny like 70s or 80s. Yeah, but it is. I mean, giant squid attacking the Nautilus. No, yeah, the Nautilus was one of the most famous scenes from Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I have read the book.
They're not Jules quite Verne that was, big, though. The giant squids are not quite that big.
Not very big.
Well, they are big. No, they are
big. They're not like Kraken style.
Yeah, to be fair, you wouldn't want to come in contact with one.
Well, honestly, if you've come into contact with one and it's still alive, you're probably dead.
Yes.
Because they're pretty deep down.
They're pretty giant octopuses as well. Now, the difference there is that the squid can actually adjust their internal pressures so they can actually get up closer to the surface than the octopuses can. They have more issues.
It's also why, and sharks are similar in that you can actually bring a lot of deep sea sharks up to the surface and they don't die because they don't have the internal bladders that fish do. Whereas if you bring fish up, the bladders burst because of the pressure. So deep sea fish die if you try bringing them anywhere near the surface without like a pressure tank. But
this might this might change the leaderboard. This one,
we'll see. Oh no, not quite.
Not quite.
Oh, see, looks like none of the top three got
Sammy
that,
and I
both life and death.
Sammy and I are struggling here, but we're getting close to the end of the questions.
Still so close. 4 left. What was the largest battle in human history? The Battle of Cannae, the Battle of the Somme, Battle of Stalingrad, or the Battle of Leipzig? NW standing for the Napoleonic Wars. The Battle of Leipzig is the biggest battle of well, actually, all of these are the biggest battles of those wars.
Yes, and they're all ancient history.
No,
they weren't.
You're a modern. World War One, Two, and Napoleonic are all modern history.
Yeah,
Stalingrad is the largest by like double.
This should put Sammy more ahead of me because again, history and not gonna do well.
I think that was it for the history, though. So there we go.
Look how quickly Sammy got that. Too.
But 80 points in it. That's nothing.
Well done,
in this.
Sammy.
Oh, if you did that as a percentage, though, this is a close game for this leaderboard.
This is a very close game, but I think Sammy's got this with 2 questions left.
All right. What is this USSR poster advertising? 2001: A Space Odyssey, Star Trek the movie, Iron Maiden, or Star Wars? There are some weird posters from the USSR. It's worth a Google.
I have no idea. And
it's in fact Star Wars.
Really? Is it really?
Yeah.
Someone got it.
One person got it. I don't know who it was.
If it's Sammy, that's it. He's won.
Maybe. He is!
Well done, Sammy.
We got 2. You better be really quick, Jen, but maybe that was enough.
I think that might have been enough.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. But here we go with this one. You better be ready, Jen. True or false? Rats laugh when tickled. There we go, Nerdy. Look, I found a photo of Nerdy for this one. Let's see how people go for answers.
I've seen the video of this.
Yep, it is in fact true. Rats do tickle when they laugh. Do laugh when they're tickled.
But
Tickle
Sammy
when
would
they
have got this. There's no way Sammy didn't get this.
Oh, yeah, just.
Yeah, and as quickly as I did,
But-
almost. Yeah.
Yeah, Savvy's got it. That answer streak at the end. There
That
we go,
was an
Sammy.
amazing answer streak, Sammy. Well done.
And now, to top it off, with the next question. Here's a quiz. Double points. What is the best form of research? A lifetime dedication to an art form, a minimum of 3 university degrees, the entire database of nature and science papers, or 2 Guardian articles. This is for those who regular a few different channels. Yeah. It is. That one was in fact a reference.
Oh, I thought you wanted an
to a
honest
few people.
answer.
I should have just given it to all of them, but hey, I wanted that was a bit of a joke, that answer.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be this close towards the end.
It could have
so
made
I
a
thought I'd
difference.
end on a joke.
That answer could have knocked me off a second.
Well, here we go. Almost a trivia podium. Oh, Nerdy made it into the top 3. Polymathic at number 2. And then, of course, number 1.
Well done,
Sammy.
Sammy.
I wonder if it lets me see everybody. Here's the runners-up. I don't know what happens when I click next. I can't remember. Oh. I can actually see the percentage. So here's the hardest questions. There was 2 that nobody got correct. I was back to podium. Does it show everybody? Oh, I kind of wanted to see where everyone was. I don't. Come on. Ah, there we go.
Well done, Sammy. So well done.
Oh, that was a close game.
I am so glad I messed up a couple of those by being sidetracked by us talking. Because that made the game actually closer.
All right, I'm gonna stop my screen share. I do want to see. I wonder if the full report will show me
Yeah.
who got what. All
Sammy,
right, so
I didn't know I
can
knew stuff.
Who was death and who was life?
Yeah, who was death and who was alive? Because that was interesting. That was a fun stream.
I hope people enjoyed that. Can have a look at
we
the, oh, I
did.
can
We
actually have a
enjoyed
look at the leaderboard. I can see who was not on the top there. Oh, the scores. So the scores don't drop off until you get like 7th. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
people did-
it was close all over. Like it was only a few questions in it between most people.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a good set of questions. And you had them varied enough that it didn't give an advantage to anyone in particular, which was really good.
Oh, thanks.
So well
Yes,
done, Matt.
as long as
Well done. That was so much fun. And thank you to everybody in the chat for enjoying that with us, because that was a fun little stream to have. As for next week, I'm actually not sure what we are actually doing next week, because I've got to check through the people who've accepted to come on as guests, but I think we actually have a guest for next week, but I'm going to have to double check it because I haven't been paying much attention. If it's who I think it is, we should be having a bit of fun, because Matt and I had a plan for this particular stream. We had something we wanted to discuss with them, as per normal, but I'm not going to say any more than that because I can't remember. Mostly.
I think I know who you're talking about,
Yeah.
which shows how good my memory is on this one.
Yeah. So I'll have to double check that with them. But again, thank you to everybody in the chat. Well, congratulations again, Sammy, That was amazing. Keep an eye out for Matt's new video, which should be out in the next week or so, I would have to guess.
No, it's going to be a bit more than that. I got to still pass it through a few people for script, and it's going to take me several days just to film. Probably,
so I can start getting those animations. And yeah, we've got a few things.
Yes, actually, I can probably send you the draft anyway because it'll be enough for you to see kind of where we're going.
Figure out where we're getting the animations to go.
So I'll send you the draft.
Yep.
But yes, what I will need from everybody watching who wants to, I'm not forcing anyone to, but anyone who can, I will need help promoting this one. It is taken so much time. Like this is why I haven't produced a video in like months. Like this has taken more than a month of full effort just to get this script done. Hopefully the video is worth it at the end.
I think it will be.
I'm sure you'll have a lot of input for the script too, Jen. But yes, I got both Kitty and Randolph Richardson are doing voiceovers for it as well.
Yeah.
Plus, I think I'm going to have to do some of my parts as a voiceover because otherwise, I don't know if I can stay standing and filming for that long. But we'll see. Do it over a couple of days.
Is there anybody in the community that does a good impression of Carl Sagan?
Oh yes, I could take that. It'll be a delay before it picks up in the chat, but if there is anyone, if you have Twitter, feel free to DM me. I'll happy to listen to your impersonations.
Yeah, because that would be amazing if we could have a Carl Sagan-esque type voice going on for it.
Yes. And that reminds me, I do need to edit the end a little bit too. I was going to put something else in.
I'm planning to get a video, maybe 2 out this week. I've got 2 on the board. One is going to be actually explaining about polymaths and the history thereof and what the real meaning of the term is, because most people misinterpret what the term polymath is. And then the other one will be a science educational video about changes in the states of matter. So, solid, liquid, gas, plasmas. Talking about that, about how you can have water boiling that hasn't reached its boiling point but still have steam come off it. So, and that will include an experiment to show you guys what's going on. So it's aimed at high schoolers as much as adults, with the idea of giving some educational tools for people and things like that. But it'll be a bit of fun. So yeah.
Yes, it does sound pretty interesting. Hopefully we can get a few of those videos out because they're useful for people.
Yes, I'm planning on doing some. I think Matt's going to do a few of the simpler ones as well, and we're hoping to get a few other science communicators involved and maybe make a playlist of them so that people in the community, if you're having to homeschool, which is something that a lot of people are having to do at the moment in some countries because of COVID, or because you're somebody who was homeschooled and you're trying to help your kids with this school homework now because you've come out of religion and you were homeschooled and you didn't have... There are people who have that problem. Hopefully we can make some videos that will help and support and be educational for that reason. So that's kind of the aim with that. So look forward to those and us having some good videos there. It's not just pressure, Robert, but I will... You'll have to wait for the video.
Yes. A few coming out. Yeah.
Was there anything else, that you've got happening?
I'm happy to end that there. Oh, actually, no, I can think of one thing.
Yes.
I think after my next video, what I want to do, I have an old model of a boat. It was just a really basic, cheap one, but it's covered in mold. It's like kind of got moldy in the fabric for the sails. So while it's still winter here, I want to set it on fire. So I'm looking for creative ways I could possibly do that.
I already told you, big parabolic mirror and do an Archimedes death ray.
Yeah, unfortunately, because we're in lockdown, I don't think I can get out and get a mirror. So it's got to be with stuff I've got already lying around. As much as I'd love to do that.
You could do a video about why flaming arrows weren't a good weapon.
Yeah, I don't think they weren't very common.
No, they weren't.
You wouldn't have used them much. But computer games and movies love them.
Yes, they do. All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Matt, for that brilliant quiz. Thank you again, everyone in the chat. Congratulations again again to Sammy. Well played. Well played, everybody. Everyone did a great job there. And we will probably do another one of these in the future. But next time I might come up with a question so Matt can have a play.
We'll see how well I cope with them.
See how well Matt copes with them. And
I don't think I'll get a podium finish if that's the case.
So yeah. Take care, everybody.
You set the standard high, Jen.
Be good. And Matt, I'll let you use your tagline.
Yes. And until already stuffed it up. Let me try again. Collect myself. Ready? And until next time, everyone, be like protons, don't choke on the selfie stick, and stay positive.
Bye.